I feel it in my bones, and I just don't think I can hold it anymore. The river is rising, flowing out of me, and I'm coming alive, I'm coming alive. I'm gonna dance and sing and move my feet, 'cause the river is rising, flowing out of me. Gotta let the world know, take it to the streets. Gotta dance and sing and add a shout of praise. I feel it in my bones, and I just don't think I can hold it anymore. The river is rising, flowing out of me, and I'm coming alive, I'm coming alive. I'm gonna dance and sing and move my feet, 'cause the river is rising, flowing out of me. Gotta let the world know, take it to the streets. Gonna dance and sing and add a shout of praise. Shout of praise. The river is rising. The river is rising. I feel it in my bones, and I just don't think I can hold it anymore. The river is high, flowing out of me, and I'm coming alive, I'm coming alive. I'm gonna dance and sing and move my feet, 'cause the river is rising, flowing out of me. Gotta let
Healing waters come to me, rejuvenate and heal my soul. When the sun's bright majesty presumes its heavy toll, soak into the fertile soil, new from the abundant sky, ancient from the darkest depths, tears from worldly eye, tears from worldly eye.
We are dancers to the rhythms in your song of rebirth, coursing through the veins of the earth.
Gently cool the fevered brow, lightly crisp and fragile flowers. Healing waters here and now, refresh the arid hours. Healing cycle endless, all that's waste of life renew, lost from sight and found again, sparkling with like the dew, sparkling like the dew.
We are dancers to the rhythms in your song of rebirth, coursing through the veins of the earth.
Raging currents, rolling waves, the pulse of this blue ocean ball. Healing waters, we are yours, and you live through us all. When needs of the living quenched, bring the song of life's rebirth. When all grief is washed away, find your rest in earth, find your rest in earth.
We are dancers to the rhythms in your song of rebirth, coursing through the veins of the earth. We are dancers to the rhythms in your song of rebirth, coursing through the veins of the earth.
The night is cool and clear, and we walk down the wooded track, down the quiet road to the night lake. The night is cool and clear, and the moon shines upon our dark of the night lake. I know this lake. I know the
Draw water in Jordan from the living well. Draw water in Jordan from the living well.
Here's some Hebrew words, Mayim Chaim.
Mayim Chaim.
Waters of life.
Shalom.
Let's do Mayim one more time.
Mayim Chaim. Waters of life.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Virtual Worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. I'm Bruce McConachie, today's worship associate, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. Our minister, Reverend Kristin Grassel Schmidt, will be preaching today, and Dr. Laura Solomon, our Director of Spiritual Growth, will be sharing our Time for All Ages. Today, we celebrate our annual water ceremony, a long time and beloved way of marking the end of summer and the beginning of a new year of learning and growing together in community. Many of you joined us last weekend for our in-person water ceremony meet and greet. It was such a joy to reconnect in person on our beloved church grounds. Even though we are worshiping virtually today, I hope this ritual we celebrate each year brings us hope in its familiarity and comfort in the assurance that life and growth, learning and community go on, even in the midst of change and uncertainty. Whether you're new among us or have been a part of this congregation for a long time, I'm so glad you're here. Mary Beth Lerner is our welcoming captain this morning and would be glad to answer your questions in the chat. Mary Beth will also be available during virtual coffee hour after the service. After a year and a half of doing these services virtually, many of you know the drill. But for those of you who are joining us for the first or second time, here are a few tips for getting the most out of today's service. If you're watching live, you can log into Google to participate in the chat in real time. This is a big part of how we connect with one another during these services. Comments aren't available for later playback, but during the service they are very public, so please keep that in mind when you decide what you want to share. Also, the live chat has some safety features to prevent disruptive comments, so you won't be able to post special characters or complete web addresses. You can log into a special Zoom room if you would like to watch the service accompanied by American Sign Language. If you need help finding that link, please ask in the chat or email vstechsupport, all one word, at uucss.org. Every Sunday, we encourage people, wherever they are tuning in for worship, to go and get a chalice, a candle, or even a flashlight, so that they may join in kindling our flame of community. This morning, I invite you also to get a glass of water and a bowl. We will use these in a ritual later on in the service. Now, let's say thank you to everyone who has contributed to today's service. Please join me in the words on your screen as we light our chalices and reaffirm our congregational commitment. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being. May it be so. Now let's join together in singing. The words to the song will appear on your screen.
I am but a drop of water. Alone I would disappear, dried up by the scorching sun, sucked up by the dry, thirsty earth. But together we can wear out stones, carve out the Grand Canyon, make streams and rivers, and find our way to the sea. As we gather in community to share this sacred time, may we give thanks for the many gifts here mingled, marvel at our shared power, and remember our call to use it for the common good. Come, let us worship together.
This story is called The Little Stream Called to the Sea. It is adapted from a Sufi story. From its source in the majestic mountains, a stream ran as fast as it could in search of the sea. Quickly down the hills it ran, creating waterfalls and rock ponds, trickling around trees and gliding through the grasses. The stream conquered every type of countryside on its journey to the sea. That is, until it reached the desert. The stream began to cross the desert with as much confidence as it had traveled through every other kind of land. But it soon found that no matter how hard and fast it ran, its waters just disappeared into the sand. The stream knew that it must cross the desert, for beyond the desert was the sea, but it had run out of ideas. After what seemed like a long time, the stream heard a voice. It was the still, small voice of the wind.
I can take you to the sea,
said the wind.
Come with me and I will carry you to the ocean shore.
The little stream was amazed.
How could you do that?
It asked.
You are only made of air.
I can carry you on a breeze, but you must be very brave, for you must let go of yourself and change.
I've changed many times,
said the stream.
Yes, I know you've changed before, but this will be different.
The little stream was nervous. It didn't know what the wind had meant about letting go of itself, and it didn't like the idea of surrendering itself to something it couldn't control. But deep within, it yearned for the sea. So the stream took a risk, and it let go. And as tenderly as a parent scoops up a sleeping baby, the wind picked that stream up. At first it felt frightened, for it felt almost lost. It was no longer really a stream anymore. It had been turned inside out into a cloud, twirling and floating and swirling in the sky. The view was like nothing the little stream had ever seen before. The whole world lay below it, studded with sparkling jewels. Then the stream-turned cloud realized that all those jewels were actually parts of itself, molecules of water, droplets sparkling in the light. And the stream-turned cloud saw that it was more beautiful than it ever could have imagined. Next, the stream-turned cloud realized that it was not alone, for the wind had whispered to other streams and to ponds and even to the morning dew, all of whom had also turned into clouds, and all of their parts were sparkling in the sun. Together, they were even more beautiful, for the sunlight had changed them into a rainbow. After what seemed like a long while, the stream-turned rainbow felt itself falling, falling, and falling, and falling. All the other droplets were falling, plopping down until all the droplets ran together into a mighty river, which rushed at long last into the sea, ebbing and flowing in the waves, pushing and pulling in the currents. What was once that little stream felt so happy and so fulfilled. Every now and then, the wind breezes by, whispering once again to the currents in the sea.
Come with me, come with me.
And then the waters let themselves go and rise up into the wind to be carried away, to start the glorious journey all over again.
I invite everyone of all ages now into our time of sharing the highs and lows of our lives with one another. Grown-ups, this is a good time to ask the kids in your household if they have any joys and sorrows they'd like to share. In a moment, you'll be invited to type your joys and sorrows into the chat box during the music. Just remember, everything shared in the chat box will be public during the live broadcast. The work of caring for one another is the privilege of this entire community, and every act of care and support strengthens the whole. Every single person can offer care to others, whether you have been part of this congregation for a decade or just a day. I encourage everyone to make a note of the people whose joys and sorrows touch your heart today and reach out to them sometime this week. It means a lot to know that we're held in community. If there's something especially heavy on your heart or difficult in your life and you'd appreciate more support, please send an email to layministers@uucss.org, and either they or I will be in touch with you. And if you're watching this later as a recording, I invite you to take a moment, perhaps pausing your video, so that you can meditate, reflect, or lift up your joys, sorrows, and those of our world in prayer. Let us now open our hearts to the joys and sorrows this gathered community has to share.
invite you all into a time of ritual sharing with me. Do you have a glass of water and an empty bowl? As we bring ourselves to this community, all of ourselves, I invite you to listen to this list. And for each thing that I say that resonates with your life, I invite you to take a sip of water. Little sips, because there are a lot of things. For journeys we didn't take. For learning how to spend time with people in new ways. For remembering how important washing our hands is. For the things we learned from the news that made us cry. For people we have lost this year and couldn't mourn in the usual way by coming together. For times when everything was too much. For everyday chores like grocery shopping becoming really hard. For friends and family we don't get to see in person or don't get to see in the same way. For new opportunities to get involved with the community or do something that matters. For school and everything that involves. For work. For all of the interactions that make our lives possible and give our lives meaning. For time spent in nature. For resisting hate and planting love. For time spent learning new things. For hard decisions. For hard work. For deciding to hope. For glimmers of joy. For going to bed at night and deciding to keep going tomorrow. For our lives. If there's any water left in your glass, I invite you to pour it into the bowl. If you collected other water during the year, add that too. If you're with others, pour it all into one bowl, and then when our service is over, go outside and pour it into the earth. I'll pour some of our ritual water into the earth too, and it will all meet up in the water cycle.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul, in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul, in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul, in my soul, in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul, in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul, in my soul.
The summer when I was 7, my family went on a road trip for vacation. Now, this was no short 2 or 3 day trip. Having driven across the country twice already in my short life, my parents were confident I could handle this multi-state drive west. Now, I'd never heard of where we were going before, so when my parents told me it was a big park, I immediately thought of the only other places my parents had described with those 2 words: Disneyland and Disney World. My anticipation grew the farther away from home that we drove. And after what seemed like a lifetime of driving, one night, as dark began to fall, we finally arrived at the hotel down the road from the Grand Canyon. As we pulled into the parking lot, I wondered why I couldn't see any other roller coasters in the distance. And when I finally did catch sight of the Grand Canyon, I said to my parents, "Why did we drive all the way across the country to come see a big hole?" Now, even though I was disappointed at first, I came to really love the Grand Canyon and all that I learned there. It's the first time I can remember wondering what other natural wonders the world had in store and whether I'd get to experience them. My Grand Canyon experience comes to mind when I hear this morning's story. Just like the little stream called to the sea, I knew where I wanted to go, and yet it turned out to be different than I'd expected, and different than anything I'd experienced before. Last spring at our Flower Communion service, many of us were eagerly awaiting this very moment, hoping the threat of the virus would mostly be behind us, hoping we might get to share this service of ingathering together in person. And some things have changed. Vaccination rates in our area have risen. The vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11 may be available as soon as October or November. We're able to do more things together outside than ever before. But none of this is following the timeline or the trajectory we might have imagined it would. We might have hoped it would. Howard Thurman told a story about a time in his life when he felt at the mercy of a power much greater than himself, and his emotional experience of being in that vulnerable place. He was a seminary student at the time, going to some evening lecture or community meeting, and he took public transportation to get there. But when he emerged out onto the street, it began to snow. And after just a couple of minutes, he was caught outside in a full-blown blizzard, the snow so thick he could barely see his hand a few inches from his face. He says that at first he did everything he could think of to get himself to safety. Looking for oncoming vehicles, buildings to take cover, then he decided to just walk as far and as fast as he could. Certainly, he would have to come across someone or something offering shelter and warmth. But when these efforts proved fruitless, he began talking to the blizzard, appealing to it, trying to reason to it. "You can't do this to me. I'm a seminary student. I have a calling. This isn't fair. Maybe I should just give up. But, he said, the blizzard didn't care about him. It just kept on blizzarding. It's easy, Thurman said, to understand ourselves as victims of impersonal forces, and to believe that therefore we are not responsible for how we react to them. The blizzard made me do it. The pandemic made me do it. We can rationalize any number of actions and behaviors by letting ourselves off the hook, allowing ourselves to believe that suffering and discomfort neutralizes our responsibility. And yet, as Thurman writes, we are responsible. I will not let my circumstances dictate my actions, he said. I will not surrender my vote. I will not relinquish my power. This congregation is filled with some of the most committed, devoted, strong, and brave people I've ever had the privilege to meet. From volunteering in schools to writing postcards in the lead up to the election, circulating petitions to the work of raising conscientious and ethical children and grandchildren, this is a congregation that lives its UU values. We are proud of our heritage as religious liberals, strong in our faith in human agency, our faith that what we do and believe matters in the world. So it can be disillusioning when we are putting in all of this effort, when we're doing everything we can to change this situation, when we're following all the rules and recommendations and making sacrifice after sacrifice, only for the pandemic to continue on. We aren't where we might have expected to be, where we want to be, where we maybe think the world needs to be. And while there are things we can do to contribute to making things better, the truth of the matter is, our own agency only goes so far. Philosopher and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankel wrote about his own experience with the limits of human agency. He concluded that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Sometimes that means shifting our expectations. Sometimes it means letting go of old hopes and dreams. Our way of being in the world, our way of being with ourselves, if it is to give life, if it is to imbue our lives with a deeper sense of purpose and abundance and joy, it must be fed by what Thurman called the deep river of faith. Lives rooted in the deep river of faith, he taught, would help oppressed people overcome persecution. The deep river of faith would provide the strength needed not to relinquish one's power, not to surrender one's vote, to stay true to oneself and one's values and convictions, even in the face of the greatest challenge. It may twist and turn, fall back on itself and start again, stumble over in an infinite series of hindering rocks, Thurman wrote. But at last, the river must answer the call to the sea. As we begin a new church year, I know that each of us has our own needs, our own struggles and challenges, hopes and dreams for our lives and for this community we share. It would be easy to approach this year as a fallow one, a year we just need to make it through. But even with its challenges, this is a year of tremendous opportunity. Already the shifts we've had to make because of the pandemic have opened up new possibilities within and among us as a people. Already we've learned a new nimbleness, a new flexibility, a new willingness to experiment and try new ways of doing things. Granted, there are going to be things we can't do the same way we would have done. And we're going to have to be careful not to overextend ourselves, our already hardworking lay leaders and staff. And we can't control the pandemic. We can't control how the year's events will unfold. But we do have the power to choose what kind of year we want to have together. The pandemic may at times require us to pivot our carefully made plans, but it can only dampen our shared ministry together if we let it. I, for one, will not allow these circumstances to dictate the direction or the quality of my ministry. I will not surrender my vote or relinquish my power to the pandemic, and neither will UCSS. This congregation is resilient. It is strong and caring. You all are so incredibly filled with talent and passion, spirit and potential. We may not get to focus on all of the things we wanted to this year, but there is beauty and there is need among and beyond us. And we have not only been called to serve it, we have been equipped to serve it. It's what we are called together as a congregation to do. And I'm so glad to be your minister, to serve and grow and change together along with you. Howard Thurman taught that in times of great change, great violence and potential disaster, social change must flow out of personal, individual maturity and clarity. Perhaps this year, the social change we long for will begin inside each of us. Perhaps this is the year to focus on growing our compassion, our commitment, our sense of purpose and calling. Perhaps this is how we will wear out the stones of greed and injustice. Perhaps this is how we will contribute to the great turning, along with people of love and justice from every other faith and none. May the year ahead bring renewed clarity about what we as a community are called to be and do together. And may we each attend to our own maturity, our own inner growth and development. May we be willing to let go and be changed, just like the little stream. And may we know the joy and freedom of life's open seas once more. May it be so, and may we make it so. And the people said, Amen.
Please join me for a moment of prayer or quiet meditation. Spirit of life, in the midst of our gathering today, we pause. We breathe in gratitude for the ripples of connection that keep us tethered to this community, even while we are physically apart. We breathe in gratitude for the deep river of faith that sustains us individually and the faith that sustains us together. Today, we know we are like the little stream. In spite of the fear of the unknown, in spite of the fear of transformation, we breathe in trust in the knowing that when we let go, we can be transformed. We gather strength and love for the journey from our fellow travelers, supporting one another as we shift and transform and change together. Spirit of life, we know the road is not always easy. We know the journey is rocky and there will be times of troubled waters. May we weather these storms with ease, with patience, with love, and with grace. For ourselves, for all those within our circles of love and care, and for all those beyond our reach. Amen.
In order to become a fellowshipped Unitarian Universalist minister, a person must earn a seminary degree, participate in a clinical pastoral education internship, serve as an intern minister in a congregation, and develop competency in a number of important areas of knowledge, development, and leadership. Then they interview with the Ministerial Fellowship Committee, who determines their fitness for ministry. Our very own Director of Spiritual Growth, Dr. Laura Solomon, will be interviewing with the Fellowship Committee next weekend. So today, we lift her up in special prayer as she prepares to take this final step towards fellowship as a Unitarian Universalist minister. May the spirit of life and love that has called Laura into ministry be in her and with her during her time with the Ministerial Fellowship Committee. May the committee members perceive the gifted minister we have experienced Laura to be. And may Laura feel held in the love, support, and best wishes of all of the congregations she's served with, including ours. Good luck, Laura. We are all so blessed by your leadership.
In addition to your regular weekly offering, I invite you to give generously to our community partner for September. Usually we share our offerings with an organization that furthers our church's mission in our local community, but this month, given the incredible need in Afghanistan as a result of the recent U.S. military withdrawal, we are called to share our offering gifts with the Afghan Women's Fund. Afghan Women's Fund is currently working with immigration attorneys to help their volunteers in Afghanistan whose lives are in danger because of their dedicated work supporting the rights of women and girls. Several members of the Afghan Women's Fund were attacked in the early days of the withdrawal, and many more are in hiding in fear of their safety. Our gifts will contribute much needed financial support to evacuate and begin asylum applications for about 50 volunteers who are in danger because of their work supporting educational and vocational programs for women. Dr. Fahima Gahihiz is the director of the Afghan Women's Fund and is located in Pikesville, Maryland. Reverend Kristin has been in communication with her regarding our congregation's forthcoming financial support, and here is some of what Dr. Gahihiz wrote in reply. I'm so grateful to your congregation for your support in this difficult time. Your love for humanity and your trust in the Afghan Women's Fund are greatly appreciated. There are 3 ways you can make your financial gift today. The first is by downloading your Give Plus mobile app from Vanco to set up an account. The second way is by using your phone to text a message to 833-880-1363. To donate to the Afghan Women's Fund, check the Special Collections box in your app or text message, or write it on the memo line of your check, the third way to give. All of the information you need for all 3 of these methods is on your screen now and will appear again toward the end of today's service. I hope you will join me in the practice of generosity and make your gift today to support the work of UUCSS and the Afghan Women's Fund. The offering will now be given and received with gratitude.
Hold on to me as we go, as we roll down this unfamiliar road. And although this wave is stringing us along, just know you're not alone. 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Don't pay no mind to the demons, they fill you with fear. The trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone, 'cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
May the gifts we have given fuel the flame of our commitment, empower us to serve out our mission, and give the life we share the shape of truth, love, and justice.
Good morning. My name is Maggie Hayes, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here at UUCSS. My pronouns are she and her. Our church is not only the organization that puts together these services. We are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff, a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and a part of the global UU denomination. Visitors are especially welcome to join our virtual coffee hour after the service to learn more about us. Today we have two announcements. First, people of all ages are encouraged to come spruce up our campus at the church cleanup next Saturday, September 25th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Wear comfortable clothes you don't mind getting dirty, bring a water bottle and a snack, and help prepare the church grounds for the outdoor, in-person gatherings so many of us have been looking forward to. In connection with that, Reverend Kristin, our minister, Dr. Laura, our director of spiritual growth, and Michael, our music director, have been working hard to design this sort of outdoor programming while also continuing virtual meetings and other events so that our congregational life is accessible to many and ministers to a spectrum of needs. Now, outdoor events require a lot of preparation, so we need many hands to make light work of it. There are opportunities for people of many abilities, not just physical strength, to help out. Everyone should have received a sign-up form in a special all-church email sent a couple of days ago. So please, take a moment and fill it out. We give thanks for all the activities that enrich and enliven our congregational life.
We would be one, as now we join in singing our hymn of love, to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow, a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
Please join me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
As water is drawn down by gravity, may we be drawn forward by truth, love, and justice, sustained by a deep river of faith, one in purpose and destination, bound for the sea of love that holds us all. Our worship has ended, and now our service begins.
My Uncle Woody passed away a couple of Christmases ago, and he didn't get cheated in life. He was married 7 times. He's from the Spanish side of the family, so we called him the Puerto Rican Mickey Rooney. The day before he died, he was flirting with the nurses, planning his next wedding. And his credo is something that I've taken to heart, and everyone should. When you wake up in the morning, you always get a choice to get up on the right side or the wrong side of the bed. You get to pick your movie, to the better to rejoice. Your selection's a projection of the story in your head. Like my uncle used to say, choose joy. He lived his life that way, choose joy. Sometimes grown-ups took the steps, but he showed us how to dance and unlock the art of living to the Lord. Choose joy, choose joy, choose joy. When you step out of your house, you're already on the road, aware of every ripple and changing the light. There's a clue on every corner, a chance to crack the code. A random kiss of happiness, we brush your cheek tonight. My uncle used to say, choose joy. He lived his life that way, choose joy. When he's failing navigation, it's cause for celebration. Eat your life like it's your favorite toy. Choose joy, choose joy,
heart in everything, never miss a